in 1989. And we've got a lot to work with. Police reports, witness statements, we've even got some photos. And it looks like there might be, well, a present-day connection to something happening right now in 2023. So buckle up. This might be more than just a cold case.
Yeah, for years, everyone thought this case was pretty much closed, open, and shut. I mean, Kurt von Wichmann, he was the prime suspect. And on the surface, well, it seemed like the police had their right guy. History of violence, evidence found in his basement, all pointed to him.
But is it? I mean, when you get deeper into it, things get a little weird.
Yeah.
Maybe we should start with the timeline. We have 2 murders, 2 couples found along that same highway, the Göhrde highway.
Right.
But the first one, in July of '89, that was a shooting. A .38 caliber, clean, no signs of a struggle.
Right.
Then in August, another couple, same area. But this time, they were stabbed. Brutally. Multiple times.
Yeah, this difference in the killings, it's really important. Most serial killers, especially back then, they developed a specific MO, a signature. They might refine it a bit over time, but this is a complete shift. It's unusual.
So, are you saying we could be dealing with 2 different killers?
It's possible. It suggests maybe 2 distinct personalities, 2 killers.
So maybe Wichmann wasn't working alone.
It's definitely a strong possibility. And there's something else, another detail that adds to that. There was an elderly man, Heinrich Bauer, lived near the woods, where they found the bodies.
Okay.
Now, he initially told the police that he saw a dark car parked near those woods the day of the first murders, the shooting. But then, days later, he changes his story, recants his statement.
Did the police investigate that? Why he changed his story?
The records are vague, but shortly after, Bauer dies in a single car accident.
Oh.
Official report says he went off the road. But get this, there wasn't a single media report about the accident. Almost like someone wanted it kept quiet.
Hold on. So we've got 2 murders with totally different MOs. A witness who saw something, but then dies. In a super suspicious accident that was never reported. This is starting to feel less like a cold case and more like a conspiracy, like a movie or something.
And there's more. Remember that photo you found from 1989 at a gas station near Göhrde, unidentified man?
Right.
And then you find another picture taken recently, this year, 2023, showing the same man. Older now, but definitely him. He's still out there.
Okay, that's creepy. But what does this guy have to do with any of this? With the murders?
We don't know for sure, but there's no such thing as coincidence in cases like this. This guy, he could be connected to Wichmann, to Heinrich Bauer, even to you. You got that message recently, right?
Yeah. It was pretty straightforward. Stop digging into Göhrde. There will be no further warning.
See this threat. This tells us whoever sent it. They're active. They know about your investigation. And they want to keep whatever happened at Göhrde buried.
Jeep. And it connects the past to right now. This isn't just history. Something's still going on. Okay, so, Wichmann. They never actually charged him, right? But they did find evidence at his place, in his basement.
Yeah.
What was it? And how does all of this, the second killer, the guy in the photos, how does it all connect?
The reports are, well, they're heavily redacted, but they do mention items of interest found in a hidden compartment in the basement. But they don't say what those items were, whatever they found. It wasn't enough to actually connect Wichmann to the murders, especially with the way the victims were killed being so different. But what if?
What if what?
What if the reason they couldn't connect him was because they only had part of the story? What if those items they found only connected Wichmann to one of the murders?
Okay.
And the other murder, the stabbing, that was done by this other guy, the man in the photos, maybe with Wichmann knowing or even telling him to do it?
So you're saying they were working together, a conspiracy. That would explain Heinrich Bauer being silenced. He saw something he wasn't supposed to.
Exactly. And if that's true, this case is a lot bigger and more dangerous than anyone ever thought.
Wow. This is a lot to think about. I feel like we've barely scratched the surface.
You're right. There are so many questions that need answers. Why were these couples targeted? Was there some kind of connection? And what was in Wichmann's basement? Those answers, well, they could be the key to figuring this whole thing out.
And this man from the pictures, is he the key to everything?
He's a major part of this. We need to learn more about him, his connection to Göhrde, his role in all of this, and why he's come back now after all these years. What's brought him back?
We've got police reports, forensics, witness statements, and now a present-day threat. This is more than just a deep dive into some old case. It's an active investigation with real consequences. We got a lot more to look at. Let's take a closer look at the first murder. See if we can find any clues, any details that were missed all those years ago.
Okay, so July 1989. Our first victims.
No.
Young couple, found shot to death, in their car, parked just off the Göhrde highway. What did investigators notice right away?
Well, the police reports mentioned that there were no signs of a struggle at all. They were found sitting in the car, both shot at close range, like an execution.
Right, and that's it. That's where things get really interesting. The killings, how precise they were, no defensive wounds or anything. This suggests experience. Someone who knows how to use a gun, not a first-timer.
Are you saying it was a professional? Like a hitman?
It's something to consider. If Wichmann was working with someone, maybe he wasn't the one who actually pulled the trigger. Maybe he planned it, organized everything, and his partner. Someone who knew about guns, they did the actual killing.
I guess that makes sense. It would explain why it was so
Yeah.
precise. But if this was a hit, why target this couple? What was the motive?
That's the big question, isn't it? We got to look at the victims, their backgrounds, their connections. What was their life like? Was there anything that linked them to Wichmann? Or to this other man, the one in the photos? Did they know something, see something? Maybe they had something that made them a target.
Looking at the reports here, and there's a note about a camera. It was found in the car with the victims, but it was empty. No film. Could that be important?
Absolutely. That missing film. That could be the key to the whole thing. Think about it. What if that couple accidentally took a picture of something they shouldn't have, something connected to Wichmann, or even a photo of the other guy, without knowing who he was?
And someone realized and got rid of the film before the police could get to it, develop it.
Exactly. And it would also explain why Heinrich Bauer was killed, remember? He said he saw a dark car near the woods the day of the murders. What if he saw someone messing with that car, taking the film out of the camera? He might have been the only one who could place the unidentified man at the scene.
So they had to make sure he wouldn't talk. But why stage an accident? Why not just, make him disappear?
Maybe they wanted it to look like an accident to avoid any suspicion back then, in '89. Forensics weren't as advanced, so it would have been easier to make a car crash look like an accident.
Yeah, I can see that. This is all starting to fit together. But there's still so many questions. If Wichmann was involved in something this big, something where he needed to silence witnesses and stage accidents, what was he into? And the other murder, the stabbing, does that fit into this hitman theory?
That's where things get complicated. The second murder, the stabbing, it doesn't really fit with the professional hit. It's too brutal. There's rage there, a personal anger. It points to a different motive.
So are we back to thinking there were two separate killers, just operating in the same area?
Not necessarily. Hold on, what if the second murder? What if it wasn't planned? A crime of opportunity, like a sudden burst of violence triggered by something.
Like what? What could have caused that?
We need to look at the second couple, the victims. Was there any connection between them? And the first victims, did they know the same people, run in the same circles, anything like that?
Hang on, I'm looking through the reports. There's something, both couples. They went to the same bar in a nearby town. It was a popular place back in the 80s.
Okay, interesting. So picture this. Wichmann and his partner, they're at this bar watching the first couple, their targets. The second couple, they just happen to be there too. They don't know what's going on. But maybe they saw something or overheard a conversation. Or maybe they even looked at Wichmann or his partner the wrong way and it set something off.
And that's what caused the attack.
It's possible. We already know these guys are dangerous, willing to use violence. Maybe there's a confrontation. Things got out of control.
So it wasn't planned, the stabbing. It was just a reaction. But that doesn't explain why this guy, this unidentified man, is still watching you after all this time.
That's right. And that's what worries me. We need to know what he wants. What is he waiting for? And what's going to happen if you get too close to the truth?
Wow. So we've got two murders, two very different ways they were killed. A witness who was silenced, a missing roll of film, and a mysterious figure watching everything from the shadows for decades. The more we look into this, the weirder it gets.
Yeah.
But I think we're starting to understand things a bit more, the motives, the connections, why it was all covered up.
You're doing good work. But listen, these people are dangerous. They've already shown us that. They'll do anything to protect their secrets. Be careful out there. Trust your instincts.
I will.